Hello, everybody. This is Reverend Dr. Mayaz here with Keeping It Real Talk. We have Jeremy Wales here with us today, who is going to share his ascension process and some pretty interesting symptoms and how he got through it and all that fun stuff. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Reverend. How is everybody today?
Absolutely amazing. So you said your awakening process began. You were having
It began a couple of years ago. I would say probably a couple years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago. And I'll go right into it. What we were talking about before.
Thank you.
I had started awakening and going through the ascension process, and I had noticed that I was getting vicious attacks from these darker powers or entities, as some of us as we know them by. And I really didn't know what to do to ward them off. And I had started saying over and over in my mind, and sometimes hundreds of times in a day, I would say love, light, peace, joy, abundance, and appreciation to all. And I say it as many times as I felt I needed to. And sometimes I'd say them out loud, and when we say them out loud, the physical part of it actually holds more power than just saying it in your mind. I didn't know that at the time. I think I did after a little while. But I would say for a good solid month, when I first started going through the awakening process, I I I, I'd say them as many times as I felt I needed to for almost a solid month. And I know there was one week where it was just solid. There was a few times where there would be a day span in between where it wasn't quite so bad. However, it was many days in a row where it was just solid attacks. I could just feel it. And there are other things you could do. I know like putting a bay leaf underneath your pillow or above your doorway, and smudging helps and things like that. I didn't know that because it was all new to me, and this is kind of a newer process to humanity in our lifetime, and we didn't really have much to go by except for example different internet references and things of this nature. And that's all I have at this time.
So when your process began, how did you know it was spiritual and not a medical condition you were experiencing?
Well, I wasn't really. It wasn't really a physic. It wasn't really a physical issue, but I could feel that it was attacking my. I'll just say my field.
Like your
My
thoughts or
auric,
imagery or
it felt like it was attacking my auric field, and it's just it didn't want me to go through the process that I was going through. I mean, if you can look at it their way, you could understand it. But I mean, I had obviously picked this soul journey, but I didn't realize what I was really going through at the time. I just barely started knowing what I was going through because it was, like I say, it was new to me.
Yeah. I was just wondering, like, did you have an aha moment? Like, when I first went through mine, I had heard of auras, but I had never known what that meant other than colors of people's energy in my imagination, but I didn't like know it was an actual aura that we carried with us that we could, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I didn't know anything about the auric field at that point in time either. But I knew it was attacking my energy, you know,
Okay.
and it's something that attacks your energy. You know that that's not physical. You know that that's something beyond the physical realm. And I felt that to the point to where I I felt it so much that I felt it had to have been real. And like I say, I knew it wasn't like a physical disease or something along this line, you know.
Okay.
So
So
that's
were you born with that knowledge, or did you just kind of were you always in tune with your intuitive side, or was it an event that happened that opened you up to that, or just curious?
um I think what happened was I was it was my time to kind of wake up at that point. And from what I've read and talked to different people online and things, there's been many beings that was that were kind of timed to wake up. There there was I was From what I've read, I was part of the second waivers.
Okay. Okay.
So it was my time to start waking up and snapping out of it. In a, you know,
Do you recall if it first came to you in a dream, or was it when you were awake in the daytime that you recognized the auric fields?
it was when I was awake that I felt them, but it could have been when I was asleep too. But I felt them prevalently when I was awake, in my awakened state. Yes.
I know for me, I would start waking up really tired no matter how long I slept. And I felt like I was working all night and running. Like I would wake up physically feeling like I had had a 500K run. Not that I've ever actually done that, but that's how I would feel when I woke up. And I'd be like, golly, why do I feel like I just had a workout for like, I don't know, 7 days straight without a break and forgot my water, you know? And then I would start remembering little clips. That's what I call them, like little clips of images from my dreams. And I'll be like, what in the world was that? It was like the stars and the moon and the sun and things of which I've never learned in school anyway, from my soul space, you know. That's where mine was coming from, and trying to put those two together in a world where we discussed previously before we recorded anything is everything but that, at least the way we were raised. And now it's turning into this open telecommunications, and people are disclosing things to change the world and all this great stuff to make our earth a better place. And I just like to talk to people who have been through similar things, you know, in case anybody else out there is listening that might have possibly been through something similar to you but isn't aware of the fact that it's a psychic attack. Like they think they're, most people go to the psychologist or the medical doctors and they end up um, unfortunately in psych wards or worse, um, because they don't understand what's happening to them. But yet you and a lot of other people know that you were meant to be a light worker and it was time for you to wake up, and you know what I mean. I'm trying to help people not get
Yes.
stuck.
I and if I guess if you do feel like you might have a physical ailment, to maybe go to a doctor. But I want to say to take it kind of as a grain of salt as far as what they say, and keep in mind that, I mean, they only know what they've been taught to teach you. You know what I mean? And and I had for quite a long time, for several months, and probably I still do, but probably a little less of a degree. I would wake up and feel just utterly drained too, even though I slept, 7, 8 hours. I felt like I slept maybe an hour or maybe two, and and I remember I remember one dream very clearly, and otherwise I don't really remember a whole lot of my dreams. But I would wake up just utterly exhausted, and I had been doing some big things in my dream state.
Yeah. So, do you ever wake up with new invention ideas or anything related to your work that we're working on now that we discussed on our other, how to make water more pure and create sustainable communities? Did that come from your higher source? Do you think?
Uh, it came from some readings that I did, a lot of internet reads from other people. Uh, as far as the wealth thing, that came from, I'm not sure where that came from, but the garden idea came from a different individual. Um, the community's idea, that came from an, a community that's actually in India that I've read about, and I can't remember the name of it now. Um, but yeah, that answers that.
Well, thank you for answering questions. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome.
So, can you?
I'm, go ahead.
I was going to say, can you think of anything else you might want to share with somebody out there from a male's perspective, that might help them reach their aspirations with such clarity, with their aura, to shake off all that other stuff and, just focus on the task at hand, I guess, as it comes to them?
Uh, I wanted to just mention to, if you have, you can always bring in your guides and ask your guides for help. You can ask your guides, you can ask source to remove uh, blocks and barriers on your life and divine path. I do that probably every day. I ask that the blocks remain moved, and I call on my higher self to attune me physically to what my higher self wants me to do. And I think even those things help dramatically right there.
Well, I think it's amazing that you're able to do that. Is there any particular method or words that you use when you speak it out loud to call on your higher self to guide you?
uh, well, when I wake up every morning, number one, I say, I, 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 I say, how do I do it? I say, uh, Father, thank you for another day to be alive upon the planet. And then I say, higher self, please attune me to the highest, best possible outcome. And so it is. Namaste. And I basically kind of go on with my day at that point.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Everyone has a go-to phrase or something. It's like we're training ourselves on how to wake up every day to keep us in the flow, as to not get distracted by whatever our day's mission is. And everybody has a different method, and I think it's so cool because namaste is such a universal, or to me universal, statement to just keep me in the flow and let me, you know be whatever I'm meant to be, use my vessel, keep me clear. Some people say amen, some people say hallelujah, some people call on higher source, some people do meditations on, I believe it's called Nam Yang Renge Ho. Buddhist meditations, just so many different cool things. Do you have any times when you meditate by listening to, like maybe watching nature videos and listening to certain frequencies of music to help you when you're trying to stay in your creative mode by any chance?
Lately, I have been listening to Celtic music. Uh, it would be like the three, the fourth, 3 2 hertz, or maybe it's three, three something, 300 something hertz. And I just started doing that, and it kind of it kind of been it's been boosting my my positive outlook, healing, uh, mental state, so to speak.
I love that. There's a Celtic song, I forget, I believe her name is Karina or Carlene or something like that, but she does that Mother Earth song. I'll send it to you. I always put it on my Facebook page whenever I need a boost because it's so beautiful. It's
I
like
think I know
listen
what
to
you're
the
talking about.
flowers, listen to the trees, listen. You know that song?
I wrote down a Karina something on my notes yesterday, and it might be the same one you're thinking of.
Probably is. She has such a beautiful voice, and the intentions that she puts in her songs are like to heal everyone on earth, and it's so beautiful. I just love it. Anytime you have anything like that inspirational, feel free to share it to us because I always post those things every day. I see something that might lift or boost someone else, that works for me. I put it out there in hopes, whoever needs it receives it. Kind of like why we're doing this now, because you're sharing with me things that are personal to your own ascension, which I am absolutely thankful and gratitude and honored that you joined me today to share this. Because if there's anyone out there that it can help, I would pray that they tuned in and listened to this. And if they had any questions or seeked any guidance, would you have any um, reference points for someone where they can begin to start their process from your point of view?
Oh, where would you start? But the way when I started, I kind of went to YouTube and I punched in ascension symptoms, and then you can figure out on your own if they relate to you or not, and if they do, you can kind of go from there. Um, I don't know where the next step would be after that exactly, because everybody's path is different, and uh, you could probably check out some different meditations. Um, and I don't really know what to say other than that. You
That's
you
okay.
got to kind of have to you got to kind of have to figure out what works best for you, and what's synchronistic to you, and what feels best for your path, you and your path. Um, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest.
Well, thank you. I thought that was a wonderful response personally, because you're right. It is different for everyone. That's why I like to ask everybody I talk to, like, what was your aha moment? Like, what was your first Google search? Or what was just because some people really want to know, but they don't know where to look or what to type in as keywords or what to believe, because there's so many different aspects of the universal knowledge being displayed now that it's like you can just pick a
Oh, and
number
then
basically. And
I know I was on Prepare for Change. I was on their site at one point early in my ascension phase, and it kind of led me to it asked some question. Do you think you're a light worker? And it had some description, and they had quite a few different things. Are you a grid worker? Do you think you're a light worker? And they'd have a little description, and I read the light worker description. I thought, well, that looks more like something that I feel resonates with me. So then I kind of, that was a new phrase for me to know and feel and research. So I did some research on that, and I felt like, okay, well, that's more, and it helped me there too, But that's kind of thing. You have to kind of find the words that resonate with you and kind of go from there.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing everything with us today. Is there a way that people could reach you if they had any questions for you in regards to your projects that you're working on?
Um,
Like, is Facebook the best way, or email?
you could probably do my email. I am at Jeremy, JEREMY WALES 8 @gmail.com. And I have something else kind of setting up, but it's not quite up and running yet, so I'll have to wait on that for now.
Okay. Are you building another website, or?
Yeah, that's another website.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm going to stop that recording unless you have anything else to share with us today.
I think that might be about it for now.
Okay.
I thank everybody for listening, and I thank you, Reverend, for having me on here. And it's kind of been a wonderful opportunity and path / journey that I've been on. And it's just, it gets more and more remarkable in my mind and heart too.
Thank you so much. And you being here today meant just as much to me as far as seeing it into fruition for the benefit of all humanity. It inspires me every day that I wake up and see people like you on the same team doing the best they can to do their part. And I pray that everyone listening receives a blessing and a positive vibe from us sharing our own stories with them. And if they're interested in supporting any of our humanitarian causes, reach out to Jeremy, or you can reach us on Facebook at Rainbow Bridge Tribal Council of Light, and we'll be more than happy to forward him any questions or projects that you might like to share with either one of us. And I'm going to close on that note.